And we're back to our daily segment of Michelle Obama's terrible, terrible life. Boo effing who. She went on a podcast called Diary of a CEO. It's kind of rings a bell like a founder kind of situation. And once again, wants you to know how awful it is to be married with children.
Michelle Obama didn't walk into a debate. She walked into a demolition zone, and Megyn Kelly with Patrick Bet-David were swinging hammers. This wasn't an interview. It was a takedown wrapped in sarcasm and set on fire. From First Lady fairy tales to media makeovers, everything Michelle built got torched on live air. Her polished image, shattered. The media halo, gone. If you thought she was untouchable, think again. This was raw, ruthless, and very, very public. Grab popcorn. This wasn't just criticism. It was a full-blown exposure.
Michelle Obama slammed for whining about costs in the White House. Okay. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. This is her speaking with, is this the Diaries of a CEO, right? So Rob, if you can play this clip. This is her talking about how expensive it was to live in the White House.
Megyn Kelly didn't just join the conversation. She crashed it in stilettos sharp enough to shred reputations. No soft focus fairy tales or feel-good playlists this time. She came locked, loaded, and laser focused on dismantling Michelle Obama's media-crafted image. The queen of political branding, Megyn saw right through the act and took aim straight at the crown.
Just many natural reasons why marriage, infertility, trying to have kids makes things difficult. It's like, I try to tell couples, of course it's hard. Guess what happens when it all works out right? You know what you end up with? Babies. Little people with their own sense of everything. They mess you up. You love them dearly, but they're a hassle.
What? I mean, there's something wrong with this person. Like, she's seriously depressed. She has the most negative, dark outlook on life I've ever heard from a public figure.
Megyn doesn't fall for the charm offensive. When she watches Michelle Obama, she doesn't see a humble public servant. She sees a brand in full-blown performance mode. All that relatable energy, Megyn sees a polished character in a power suit playing pretend. The I hate politics narrative falls flat when you're juggling Netflix contracts and speaking fees like a pro. And let's be real, every dramatic sigh Michelle lets out about wanting a quiet life, Megyn knows it's all part of the script. The empire's running smoothly, and the audience is finally questioning who's really behind the curtain.
It's expensive to live in the White House,
Yeah.
as many people don't know.
Sure.
I mean, much is not covered. You're paying for every food, every bit of food that you eat. You're not paying for housing and the staff in it. But everything, even travel, if you're not traveling with the president, if your kids are coming on a Bright Star, which is the First Lady's plane, we had to pay for their travel to be on the plane.
Megyn hasn't forgotten. She files receipts like a vault with motion sensors. And tucked away in that mental archive is the line that still rubs her raw. Michelle saying she was proud of America for the first time, while the media polished it into a golden quote. To Megyn, it spoiled faster than a White House kale salad in a heat wave. Watching Michelle now, dripping in designer activism, talking resilience while charging 5 figures per pep talk, Megyn isn't impressed. The underdog act doesn't play when you're cashing in at the top. And trust her, she's not buying the myth or the merch.
You know, what are you thinking when you're giving this message? Like, what are you thinking in your mind? Because let's do data. Rob, can you type in Obama's net worth in 2007? What was Obama in 2007? 1.2 million, 1.3 million. Okay. So their net worth is, let's write this down. This is pre-White House. Their collective net worth was 1.3 million. Can you go to where their net worth was in 2016 when they're done being presidents? Okay. 2016. So their net worth, as expensive as it was, they went from being 1.3 million to 12.2 million. So that's 10xing your net worth in 8 years. And that's not bad.
What really gets under Megyn's skin isn't just the brand, it's the contradiction baked into every frame of Michelle's public image. Here's a woman who claims to have stumbled into fame like it was a trap, yet runs a media empire that makes Martha Stewart look like a part-time blogger. She insists the spotlight was never the goal, but her press schedule could blind you without protective eyewear. And if she's allergic to fame, it's the most glamorous allergic reaction in modern history. But It's the poor me narrative that truly sends Megyn's eyes rolling into another galaxy. Not because hardship isn't valid, but because Michelle's version of it comes airbrushed, ghost-written, and wrapped in a multi-million-dollar platform. The irony? She mourns public scrutiny while gracing more covers than a mattress factory. Megyn doesn't need binoculars to spot the strategy. Every sob story leads to a product launch. Every teary-eyed moment becomes a sizzle reel. This isn't healing, it's marketing. And from where Megyn sits, the Michelle Obama saga isn't vulnerability. It's a fully scripted franchise chasing awards, not authenticity.
Negative, dark outlook on life I've ever heard from a public figure, certainly one who's been given so much. Okay, her window into motherhood and having a child, the first thing she says, they mess you up. They mess you up. Maybe that's what happened to her. Maybe she was totally delightful before the two daughters came along. I don't know. She clearly is not enjoying motherhood and enjoying being in a marriage. Even less. It's not you if things get hard. It's all hard. It's all hard. This is so backward.
Meanwhile, Patrick Bet-David isn't wasting time pretending to be wowed. If Megyn's sarcasm cuts deep, Patrick's analysis slices through the smoke and mirrors with surgical precision. He's piecing together the blueprint behind Michelle's polished moves. The podcast launches, speaking gigs, and documentary drops. Each one timed like a military operation. To him, Michelle isn't just a former first lady. She's a stealth political powerhouse, quietly building her empire. She steps into the spotlight, makes headlines, tugs at heartstrings, then vanishes just enough to fuel the next viral hashtag. This isn't accidental stardom. It's a calculated rollout masked as casual journaling. And the "I'm just like you" act? Patrick laughs at it from the back seat of a chauffeured SUV headed to luxury retreats. Sure, those Southside roots run deep, but these days, the zip code screams Monaco, not middle class.
Their net worth today, 2025. What is the net worth today?
It's got to be worth a couple $100 million. No?
It's two numbers. You see
There's
70 million to 250 million dollars. So 70 million to 250 million dollars. If you type in a couple other places, you'll see 100 million. You'll see 70 million. But you'll see a couple ranges. But let's just stick to the 70 million dollars. Pre-presidency, 1.7. So expensive being at the White House. It was so expensive that our net worth went from 1.3 million to 12.2 million 8 years later. What an expensive lifestyle.
Patrick sees Michelle's masterstroke not as former first lady, but as the ultimate illusionist, convincing half the nation she shuns power while quietly redefining influence on her own terms. While America's eyes stay glued to her designer closets and workout routines, she's pulling off political Pilates, stretching her reach into culture, education, and entertainment, while the media nods along like well-trained bobbleheads at a car show. Then comes the 2024 play, laid out by Patrick like a perfectly scripted heist film. Michelle doesn't have to make an announcement. She's already embedded in every list, every headline, every whispered conversation about the next big political player. When she officially steps up, it'll feel like she never left, because she hasn't. She's been steering the cultural ship all along. Patrick watches it unfold like a marketing professor grading the perfect case study. Michelle crying on cue, hugging teens, rocking casual sneakers in interviews designed to shout, "I'm not like the other elites." She's the only person alive who could read from a cereal box and ignite a nationwide debate on morality, and that's the real power play.
And needs an intervention. She needs our help. Okay, and that's not all. She can't make fun of herself. This has been obvious for years. She's incapable of laughing at her own expense, which is an absolutely dreadful quality in a person. Like, I don't think I could hire a person who works for me who doesn't have that ability.
And we can't overlook the messaging pipeline. Patrick raises both eyebrows when Michelle starts showing up in schools, youth programs, and animated specials about empowerment. This isn't just entertainment, it's ideological groundwork, planting flags in the minds of tomorrow's voters while selling the story that she's just here to inspire. It's the political equivalent of sneaking spinach into brownies. Where Megyn spots hypocrisy, Patrick sees long game domination. They're attacking Michelle from different angles, media critique versus power analysis, but both land on the same conclusion. Michelle Obama isn't the wholesome icon the packaging claims. She's a mogul wrapped in a manifesto, and nobody's reading the fine print. Neither Megyn nor Patrick is fooled by the press bubble. Megyn's already chuckling at how Michelle is treated like she invented literacy and Christmas, while Patrick just points out the glaring double standards. Criticize her, and you're a villain. Praise her, and you're VIP at the Met Gala. The PR shield around Michelle makes the Secret Service look like amateurs.
It's curious. You're a very good communicator. Very. You were very good on stage, one of the best. You know how to rally. You actually do. Barack used to say, if I ever needed to win an election, I put Michelle on stage. I've heard that many times. Who are you inspiring with that message you're giving? Think about another younger African-American girl that's listening to this. Do you think you inspired her to want to be a first lady? What do you think you did? Do you think that motivates another girl that's watching this saying, I want to grow up to be like Michelle Obama, my hero? Oh, let me hear to see what she has to say about being a first lady. I bet she says it was the greatest honor. Oh no, in the back of her mind, she wishes he wouldn't have won because it was so expensive.
What really lights a fire under Megyn and Patrick isn't just the show, it's the total lack of accountability. Michelle floats untouchable, wrapped in praise and shielded by sentimentality, where every move is brilliant or heroic, and every silence is off limits. Any criticism instantly framed as a personal attack on goodness itself, like trying to review a Broadway show and getting sued for hurting the set's feelings. Megyn's done playing nice. If Michelle wants a seat at the table of ideas, she needs to handle more than just applause and scripted tears. Meanwhile, Patrick watches the board like a hawk, spotting Michelle quietly capturing power pieces while acting like she's hosting a bake sale. He knows a brand when he sees one, and this one is fortified like a fortress made of motivational sound bites. Together, they're tearing through the polished facade, Megyn blasting the narrative's emotional smokescreen, Patrick exposing the cold, calculated engine beneath, and at the end of the day, the only thing left standing isn't the image, it's the question. How long can the act keep fooling the crowd?
That, of course, leads me to Michelle Obama. You're back, and she's given us a whole new realm of comments. Glenn, we saved them just for you because she's still...
I told your staff I only started watching this podcast religiously because of the times I've been on your show and you've talked about it by yourself or with me. So I'm very ready to talk Michelle Obama.
Oh, good. She's still just as bitter as ever. There's such a great new spin of complaints here.
Everyone agrees Michelle Obama is smart and poised, but Megyn Kelly and Patrick Bet-David want what the media won't deliver: real, unfiltered scrutiny. Not out of spite, but because Michelle's influence is a powerhouse, vast, unchallenged, and frankly a little unsettling. What's wild is how Megyn and Patrick, coming from totally different worlds, one fueled by media battles, the other by strategic moves, both end up tearing down the same carefully constructed image. When two people who can't even agree on coffee orders both say, this is way too polished, you know something's off. Michelle's brand isn't just curated, it's industrial grade packaging, shrink wrapped and tied up with a bow from the top shelf of celebrity culture. Megyn calls it a branding crime scene. This isn't real life, it's a perfectly choreographed performance. Harvard law degree by day, flawless dance, moves on late night TV by night, without a single stain on those designer shoes. To Megyn, it's not authenticity, it's an inspirational doll with a Netflix deal, and that story doesn't sell itself.
I love Newsom.
Yeah, so there's this story about Michelle Obama starting a podcast. And I kind of want to go through this, Michelle Obama's podcast. And her and her brother, they started a podcast. They look like twins. If you want to... No, I'm actually not being sarcastic.
Yeah, well, if she
Rob, what is this, Rob?
Where's her
This
brother?
is the announcement of the podcast.
Okay, play the clip. Maybe this will help out a little bit with subscribership. Go ahead and play the clip.
Hey, TikTok, it's Michelle Obama, and I'm here with my big brother, Craig.
Hey, everybody.
We're here because we're excited to announce the launch of our new podcast called 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐸𝐿.
Patrick Bet-David sees Michelle's image as a master plan, not just branding. She's playing chess, and authenticity is just a pawn. The more she denies power, the more suspicious he gets. Perfectly timed book tours and tearjerker docs? Power moves. Meanwhile, the media shields her like royalty. Megyn calls out the press as her PR team, twisting criticism into misogyny. Ironically, those demanding accountability freeze when Michelle walks in, confident and untouchable.
One from her most recent episode, which still on YouTube, she's got like 200,000 subscribers. It's really amazing that now she's been doing this for how many episodes? She's been literally on every podcast of the left wing promoting it. And that's still all she's managed to get. Here she is interviewing Dr. Sharon Malone, perhaps better known as former Attorney General Eric Holder's wife. And therein lies the problem, as these two ladies married to two very famous men are pissed that they are not the alpha in terms of popularity and recognition in their marriages.
Patrick calls Michelle a Swiss Army knife of influence, protected like a prized asset. She's the Democrats' secret weapon, shaping culture under the radar. Megyn and Patrick agree. She's a Trojan horse, powerful yet reluctant. They don't hate her, but hate the silence around real questions. Question her, and you're branded a hater or conservative.
You got roughly 100 million followers. Imagine having 100 million followers and you sold your book and it was record breaking a few years ago when she sold her book. I don't know what the number was. How many copies did Michelle Obama's book sell? I don't know what the number is, but I heard it was record breaking. Okay, 17 million copies was sold worldwide in 2018. That's when they were really, their reputation, 17 million copies. Everybody's like, oh my God, they made so much money. I don't know how much money was made. I think the number was like 36 million. How much did she get paid for it? For the books? I don't know. $65 million was paid.
Because she's supposed to be the star, Glenn. Michelle Obama. This dovetails perfectly with so many other comments she's made about how she is, like, what about me? What about me? What did those 8 years in the White House do to my soul? And why isn't anyone asking? They shouldn't have to be told to ask about how I'm doing. Go ahead.
That's the Michelle dilemma. She shapes elections, controls culture, rules Hollywood, then acts surprised when critics show up. Megyn and Patrick slam the spotlight down. If you want influence, own it. You can't bask in soft lighting and cry foul when tough questions come. Building a global brand means more than telling your story. It means accountability. Inspiration is great, but when it turns to immunity, democracy loses. So why does every Michelle move look like a campaign? Every silence louder than headlines. She says she wants privacy, then drops a Netflix series about being misunderstood. Megyn smirks and slices. Patrick strategizes like a general. Together, they're tearing back the curtain on a myth so sacred, even criticism feels taboo. They're not haters. They just refuse to applaud the smoke and mirrors, reminding us to never confuse perfect branding with reality.